them looked at me and he said, "Yeah, you're going to be bald." And I remember thinking, what? I'm like 16 or something. I started becoming more and putting more focus and attention on it, which is part of the reason confidence just goes through the floor.
Yeah.
Brushing my hair and seeing it fall out and pulling it and thinking, oh, Christ, what the hell? Taking pictures on the top of my head and saying, look how bald you are, and, you know, all that. So I put a cap on, right? And I lived under a hat, and, you know, when I dealt with it, my confidence grew, man, a lot, and I became a much different guy. So I've got this system I call a 4-element system, right? And I get guys to focus on 4 sort of separate areas or 4 little tasks every single day. A man with hair is just a bald guy with hair.
How's it going, everyone? And welcome to episode 16 of the Bold Cafe podcast. You know by now, this is the podcast where we share hair loss stories from guys all around the world, because it just helps to talk about it, helps to get that information out there, and it's just a good conversation to have. Well, today we got a special guest coming from England, from London. We got Phil, calls himself the Bold Coach, and we're going to get all into that in a minute. Phil, welcome to the podcast, man. It's great to have you here.
Great to be here, mate. It's great to be here. Real impromptu, I was saying earlier. A bit of an impromptu last minute gig, right? It
is. I mean, I've been following. Well, no, in fact, I didn't follow you on Instagram, but we've been back and forth in the DMs a few times. And then I saw your picture posted on another account. I thought, okay, yeah, I like what's going on here. Nipped over, and then I thought, and then I realised who it was. And obviously, with a name like the Bold Coach, I had to get in touch, and so this is a podcast we definitely want to have. So I suppose first thing, just introduce to us, what it is you do over on Instagram. I know you got the Facebook and things like that. Yeah, just give us a bit of background of what it is you do at the moment.
So I help guys who are experiencing some kind of hair loss related confidence, anxiety issues. I help them to sort of transform their body and turbo boost their confidence and just generally feel better about themselves, because I went through it back in the day in my 20s, and it kind of knocked me sideways, to be honest. I don't know if it was the same with you, mate, but my confidence went a lot, and I now look back, realise that there was a lot of stuff that I could have done and I didn't do. So now I'm kind of helping guys undergoing what I did back in those days to make them realise that, you know what, it's not such a bad thing. In fact, it's a good thing. Going bald is a good thing.
Definitely. You can definitely, with the right mind frame, you can get a lot of positivity from it. And we'll get all into this stuff. So you're sort of helping guys then, like you said, with their set goals. I've seen a lot of stuff over on your Instagram there, sort of like setting goals. And a lot of through fitness and things like that. So have you got a bit of a fitness background?
Yeah, so my background, I started off as a kind of a PT, like a bog standard personal trainer, basically punching people in the gym to make them lose weight. And I was helping everyone. I kind of still do a bit of that as well, but I realised it was only in sort of maybe January, February this year that I kind of switched directions. So it's a relatively new thing, but it's, I spent 10 years I've been doing it, just coaching people, or PTing really. And then I moved into a bit more of the world of coaching. So I've got my own coach who's helped me out no end. He's been brilliant. And I've learned a lot of stuff about kind of coaching. And I sort of realised that PTing is generally just making people feel more confident, right? The reason we want to lose weight or be strong or whatever is because it makes us feel better, right? And when we feel better, we're more confident, and life just becomes a lot better. So I've now use the skills that I've got, and I've realised that one of the first things that a lot of guys should do if they want to improve their confidence is to make sure your body's on point, right? Because the last thing you want when you come home or you get out of the shower and you're already feeling shit because your hair's going, you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see, right? Definitely. So that's something that we can all be in control of and sort of manipulate pretty easily. So yeah, I use my sort of sports and training background as kind of one of the main parts of the program that I run. Yeah.
I see. So how did you sort of identify, you said you've been a PT, sort of bog standard like you described it, for 10 years. How did you kind of identify this switch, or what was the thing that kind of planted that seed in your head that said, oh, maybe I should focus on, guys here and also guys who are losing their hair? What kind of made you come to that realization?
Well, I kind of started to realise that first of all, I can relate to those guys pretty well, because I'm basically kind of targeting me, right? And if you are being coached by someone who has been through what you've been through, you relate to them better,
definitely,
right? It's like, and I can relate to these guys. I've helped a lot of people. I had at one period, I had a group for women, and I was trying to target young pregnant or young mums, right? And I realised that, you know what, there was a lot of talk about periods and split abs and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that, you know what I mean? I've got two sisters, but that's where it ends. I like girls, but I'm not one.
Yeah.
So A, I realise I can help these guys a little bit more. B, I feel good doing it, you know, because again, back in the day, there was no help. There was nothing to help me feel better about myself, right? And even though now I look back, it's not a massive problem. When you're going through it, it is, right? And for me, it's just that fulfilling sort of thing. So I get really good results with these guys.
Fantastic, yeah. So obviously, similar to me, you know, doing this whole thing with Bold Cafe is something I've been through personally. And so you don't have to, you know, I don't have to research a whole lot. It almost just comes from the heart, comes from my own experience, what's worked for me.
100%. Yep, and you see some of the stuff that I post about, it's kind of stuff that I would like to read, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas when I was just focusing on everyone with a pulse, it would be, this is how to lose weight, this is how you do a squat, this is how, and it's fucking boring, you know? I don't want to read that. I want to write and post and blog and email about stuff that I enjoy writing and would enjoy reading, you know?
Definitely,
so it kind of makes my life easier as well.
and stuff you're passionate about, you know, obviously, like you said, you've got this passion for it. Definitely. In fact, I saw you today, you posted on your Instagram stories a little thing in the notes there. It said, was it a man with hair? Can you finish it for me? Finish the quote.
It was a man with hair is just a bald guy with hair.
Yeah.
Because underneath we're all exactly the same, and I don't want to get too, you know, unicorny and we're all equal and all that, which we are. But underneath we're all the same kind of. We're all the same guy. I'm still the same guy as I was when I had hair, right?
Definitely.
Well, I think on that post I wrote, actually, I'm I'm a better guy now because, as we'll talk about, you know, when I dealt with it, my confidence grew, man, a lot, and I became a much different guy to the one that is here now. In fact, I wouldn't be doing this because I'd be crapping myself and sweating and getting nervous about being on telly.
100%. It sounds like we got so many similarities coming from this hair loss stuff, which is awesome. So why don't we go back there then? You know, for your own sort of hair loss story, so we get a bit of background in this. So, when did it start for you? How old were you when you first started noticing that the hair was going?
I was probably about 18 or 19. It was just kind of sixth form. I was quite, I have to say, quite young. Last year of school, took a year out before I went to uni, and it was in that kind of last year out that it started. It started going, and it was. I always remember, but it was. I was thinking about this morning, right? I was in the shower and I was thinking, because I thought you might ask me when did it start happening, and I used to play hockey, right? Field hockey. I was a really good player, and when I was kind of a youngster, I started playing in the adult team, right? And I remember probably about 15 or so, 16, we'd played a game, we was in the pub afterwards, and one of the older guys, they were talking about hair, like older guys do, right? And one of them looked at me and he said, yeah, you're going to be bald. And I remember thinking, what? I'm like 16 or something. I still had hair, right?
Yeah.
But obviously they saw something and, you know, you just know, don't you? Someone's got thin hair, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, Jesus, that's a bit of a weird thing to say. And then, then I started going out with a girl when I was, I think, 17, 18, and her mum was a hairdresser. And she was doing my hair one day, and she was like, oh, you're going to be a very bald granddad.
Oh, really?
And again, I was like, what the hell, man? Why are these people saying these things to me? And then 17, 18, hairs on the pillows, you probably know what it was like.
Yeah.
Started, you know, and as I became aware of it, I started becoming more and putting more focus and attention on it, which is part of the reason confidence just goes through the floor.
Yeah.
Brushing my hair and seeing it fall out and pulling it and thinking, oh, Christ, what the hell? And, you know, it's just, ticking time bomb. So I just lived under a cap for about 3 years. And,
that's what I want to get into. So, obviously, you started noticing the signs, people obviously pointing it out to you as well. And, obviously, when you're a young guy, you know, I mean, I thought it was over, you know, when someone said, oh, you're going to be bald granddad and that. I thought that's what I'm going to look like at 20. I mean, I was a bit older. I was sort of 24, 25. And that's all I saw in my head was this guy with the greyish hair on the sides and just that old granddad look. And I thought, oh my God, that's going to be me through my late 20s, 30s. Yeah. And so you said then you kind of dealt with it by wearing the cap. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, So mate, I went to university, 3 years of uni, and I lived with 4 mates, 4 guys, right? And they're still my very good friends now. But man, I got ripped for it, you know.
Right.
We all, as guys do, right? And there was loads of taking pictures on the top of my head and saying, "Look how bald you are," and you know all that. So I put a cap on, right? And I lived under a hat and what have you, and hated going out. You know, you go to a pub and the bouncer's like, "No hats in it."
Yeah, because
what the hell? This is a disaster. So I lived under a cap, and everyone was telling me, just shave it, just give in,
right.
You know. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to look stupid. All the stories you're talking about, right? My head's going to be the wrong shape. I'll look like something or other. And it was, I never did it. And then I only shaved it eventually when I went travelling. So I went travelling after uni. I thought, right, I'm going to be in a different country. I'll give in. If it looks shit, then I'll be somewhere where no one can see me. So
okay,
everything was good.
In the UK, I mean, I had long hair while I was still at uni, but I used to wear hats as well. And in the UK, they're really strict about that. You know, you can't go in a club with a hat on. You've got to take it off.
No.
So
I hated it.
Did you take it off, or was there times when you were like, all right, well, I'm not going in, or?
But luckily, I used to be a bit of a raver, mate. So we'd go raving, and their hats were allowed, and it was all fine. But going to, you know, obviously we still go to pubs and that, and restaurants and whatever, and it was like no hats, and you have to take it off.
Yeah.
So then you kind of, you know, wigging out about, what do I look like, and trying to gel it, and I was thin, you know. I didn't try and cover it by growing it long. It was thin and bit gel and spiky, and mate, I just terrible. And then it rains, doesn't it? And it goes all flat to your scalp, and you're like,
just a nightmare. I can imagine, you know, I imagine it was, I mean, 3 years, that's a long, you know, much longer than I held on to it for. It just affects you every day, you know, it just always on your mind, every day, trying to make it look right.
I would get up in the morning, at uni, I'd get up in the morning and my hat would go straight on.
Right.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Because it was just, I didn't, you know, and looking back, you know what it's like. You look back and you think that was a ridiculous way to act. Stupid, you know. But, you know, and as much as you say, I don't care what people think, we all do, don't we, really? And I just didn't get involved in it at all. Which was, just covered it up.
especially at that age, you know, you do, you know, like you said, you got mates ripping on you, and that's the time when you know, trying to, you know, date girls and stuff like that. It's a tough time. It's a tough time, and if it wasn't the hair, probably would have been something else. You know, for me, I was interested in talking about this, you know, being a PT and going to the gym. For me, I was quite a big kid, but I just shot up. And as I shot up, I started losing the weight, and I was so skinny. I was just so much skinnier than everyone else. And for me, it was this obsession with trying to put on weight and put on muscle, you know, because I would buy clothes that were too small, so it would be tight. So I would try and, you know, maximize any gains that I'd had in the gym, you know. Anything baggy just drowned me. Yeah, it's mental how things like that. But it's just crazy how it's always on your mind, you know. You can't switch it off. There was a guy who we had on the podcast, Ryan, said he used to sit in lectures and he'd be worrying that the people sat in the lecture behind him, you know, would be looking at the top of his head. Yeah, mental. It's crazy.
100%, man. I get that. I get it as well. I've got mates and even people that I see in the gym still, and you know, then they'll say things because, you know, I'll do a stretch sometimes while I stand behind them and they're sat down, and it's like they're so, "Oh, can you see my bald patch from up there?" And it's like it is on people's minds, right?
Yeah.
But that's part of the problem, and that's something that I address in my course. It's about where your attention is and where your focus is, and if you can take it away from it, problem solved.
Definitely, yeah. And so during this time, you know, you said you were obviously earlier on you were playing hockey, and you had good mates in uni. Did you talk to anyone about this stuff, or did you kind of just bottle it up?
Never. Not once.
Never, right?
And what happened was it kind of, I'm not sure if it was my hair or what it was, but I kind of suffered the symptoms of anxiety, right, for about 3 or 4 years. And as I said, again, I don't know if it was triggered by my hair or what it was, but it was, I didn't talk to anyone about that either. And I kind of just was the life and soul and put a mask on and drunk my way through it. You know what I mean? Especially when you're at uni, you just party all the time and forget about it. But yeah, it kind of, I didn't talk about my hair or anything going on in my hair at all. Guys, we're not supposed to do that, right?
Yeah.
Put it away. Put it in your pocket.
Yes, the way it is. That's the way it is, and that's why, you know, I think things like this discussion we can have now, I hope it's showing people who are at that stage where we were at that you can talk about it, you know, and
100%.
As soon as you do mention it, even when I mentioned it to my friend for the first time, I felt relief, you know, even just by talking about it and just getting it. You just make the problem aware, right? You've acknowledged that it is a problem when you mention it.
Getting it out of your head, you know. Definitely. And this is even why journaling and writing stuff down is so powerful, because you're just getting stuff out of your head, getting your thoughts out a little bit, and it can. And when you talk to people, you know, then they often make you realise that the things you're thinking is bullshit, you know, and all the stories you're telling yourself are just like, wrong.
Yeah, you often, you know, think the worst, and when you talk to someone about it, they think, oh no one's thinking that, because like I said time and time again, everyone's got their own stuff that they're dealing with, you know. They don't have time to worry about your stuff. It's just you're the only one who's making it worse for yourself. But we'll get into that. So obviously you had the hat thing, and you went traveling, right? So was it kind of you thought, okay, I'm going to a new place, like let's just get this done with, and like you said, if it looks bad, no one's going to see it.
Exactly. I've got 9 months going around the world or travelling about, and if it looks bad, it's just me and 2 other mates. You know, it doesn't really matter. Plus, it's just easy to shave it when you're away. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm not going to be trying to get styled haircuts and spend all my time worrying what, you know, a hair's like. I'm just gonna give in. So I did. Yeah.
And when you did shave it off, how did you feel? Did you think like, oh, it looks terrible, or how, you know, what did that change for you?
Straight away, something lifted immediately. And I know there's probably 99% of the guys, right, that I meet that have gone bald say exactly the same thing. Yeah. And that line, I wish I'd done it sooner, is said by so many guys, right? I should have done it sooner. With me, as soon as I did it, I was like, you know what? I look less bald. How weird is that? Yeah. And I thought, this looks pretty good. And again, it was like, if I had done this 2, 3, 4, 3 years ago, I would have had such a more enjoyable 3 years, because I would spend so much less time stressing about what's going on top of my head, you know, and enjoying life more.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, that instant relief. And that's what, you know, I get a lot of messages from guys, pretty, like you said, I'd almost say 99% of them say the same thing. I held on for too long, should have done it sooner. Just felt instant relief, because you've taken control of it, you know. The hair loss, the worrying, it's got control of you. And as soon as you control it yourself, you do take that action and get rid of it, you're taking back control of it, you know, and it's empowering. And like you said, it makes you a better person.
100%. And then as time goes on, with your newly shaved head, right, you start to realise that all the stories you were telling yourself, they're not true, right? Yeah. Girls are still going to fancy me. No one's going to think I'm an inferior man, you know? I haven't got a weird shaped head. That's just how it is. No one cares except me. So, you kind of, you again, it's a bit hippie, right? But you're sort of freer. You're sort of set free of these bloody stories in your
100%.
Head. Then you can get on with life.
100%. It's true. It is freeing. Like, it's like metaphorically, you're getting rid of that weight on your shoulders, you know, albeit a very light weight. But you get rid of it, and it's more that mental clarity, that mental burden that you've been carrying, like you said, for you, years, you know, 3 or 4 years. And it's just
That's
crazy.
A long time, right?
It is, but it's a big deal, you know, for a lot of people. You've had that hair all your life, and then to suddenly decide one day, oh, I'm going to get rid of it. It takes a lot to get to that point. You either have to reach, you know, your rock bottom where you literally just can't take it anymore. Or maybe some outside influence. But I think most guys know when they should do it, you know. Again, a lot of guys do hold on too long, but when you know, I think, and that's what I tell a lot of people. So you obviously carry on, mate.
I was just going to say, I'd be interested to know myself, if I hadn't gone travelling, how long I would have left it.
Yeah. I often...
I don't know. Weird one.
I often think as well, if I was, like you said, you were going away, and for me, I was here in China, you know, so I was away myself, and I thought, well, everyone looks at me every day weird here anyway, so it's not going to make any, people are still going to look at me, you know. And you know, for some societies or countries, you know, there is a slight difference, but I think, like we said before, things are changing and people are becoming a lot more accepting. And a guy with a shaved head, you know, there's a lot of us about now, and I think
man.
there is less fear now, and so I hope that more guys can get to that stage a lot sooner and not have to hold on for years and years.
The weird thing is as well, the interesting fact is that the UK, I think I read this stat, is one of the top of the list in the world for countries with bald guys, right? So there are more bald guys in England, okay, than any other country, right, relatively speaking. That's mad, isn't it? Yet it's seen as such a big deal.
It does, you know? Yeah. Still seen as such a big taboo.
Yeah. So weird.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess you could, you know, like a lot of people blame things on the whole social media. I've spoken before, programs like Love Island and that. You never see a guy with a shaved head on there, you know. It's all this pretty boy image, which is just unrealistic.
Maybe we should start one, Bald Island.
We should. I mean, you know, I've talked about doing meetups and stuff like that. I think it's got to be done. It's got to be done, you know, but not like in a gimmicky way, you know. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen it. There's this viral video on Japan where they have these like bald man championships, and they are celebrating the bald man, but in a bit of a jokey way, you know. But I don't want it to be like that. I just want, you know, a meetup of bald guys, but just guys, being normal, you know, and just, I think that's how it needs to be done, for sure, for sure. And so let's talk a bit more then about, you know, your PT and stuff, and you know, I mentioned that in the ebook that I wrote, and I had a little look at your website, and you know, you got the 10 steps. I saw you got 10 steps there. You know, follow these 10 steps, you can instantly feel better about this whole hair loss thing, right? And I mentioned, you know, exercise. And for me, the thing with exercise and looking after your health is it's something that everyone can do. It's something that you can set so many goals in, and the goals are achievable, really achievable, you know. And once you focus on things like, you know, improving your health and your body, whether it's putting on muscle or a goal like, you know, running a 10K or another type of race, those things are so attainable. And once you can set your mind to that and you start achieving things, you start to go on to achieve more things, and this whole hair loss thing is forgotten about. You know, you can put it to the back of your mind and not even worry about it ever again. So yeah, tell me a bit more about what it is you're doing in regards to the whole fitness thing.
The whole exercise thing, that you kind of nailed it on the head there, where you said you forget about your hair, right? And taking control of what you look like is one thing, okay? So we're all in control of what we look like. Whatever anyone says, your body is a direct correlation to how you treat it, right? So we're in complete control of it. Now, as I said at the beginning, if you wake up in the morning, you're already not feeling that great about yourself, confidence may be low, and you look in the mirror, don't like what you see, it's just going to compound add fuel to this confidence fire, right? So we can change what we look like, and that can boost our confidence. But not only that, the fact of implementing a regular training regime, implementing a decent diet, right, implementing a few other tools that I kind of use on my program as well, you get this sense of fulfillment and that sense of achievement, okay? So not only are you doing something that's good for your health and you're changing what you look like, maybe stripping a bit of body fat, but you get home at the end of the day and think, yes, I've trained today, I've done something good, you know, yes, I've stuck to my diet, which has been good, yes, I've had 2 litres of water today, and I've ticked off in my little list these things that I said I was going to do. And when you start doing the things you commit to doing, the things that you said you're going to do, you get that sense of fulfillment, right? And when we start feeling good about ourselves, then again, confidence rises, and it's all taking attention away from where are the stories that are in our head, you know? Definitely. I'm so bald, no one's going to fancy me, this, that, and the other.
Definitely. And
so it's like a twofold sort of gain, you know. You look better, which makes you feel better, but you get that sense of achievement and fulfillment, which again boosts your confidence.
It's quite a timely time to have this conversation, actually. I literally today got a comment on one of my pictures, and it was some guy saying, oh, it's all well, you know, which do I deal with first? Because he was saying he was losing his hair and he was really overweight, and my advice was start with the hair, take that action, get the hair, and let that be the first step, and then get the ball rolling, you know. But I suppose also I can kind of see, for example, if you had a guy who was out of shape, also losing his hair, I can imagine as you start to help him implement these good habits, you know, the diet, as the confidence rises in himself, that might then give him the confidence to tackle the hair problem. Have you had any sort of case studies or any sort of, what's that word I'm looking for?
Like testimonials.
Testimonials, yeah. Have you had any experience with guys that have is that how it's happened, or?
I have actually. There was one guy that was training. This was a guy that was not on my program, but actually I saw him live in the gym, and we were training for a while, and his hair was going, and it was, he was getting thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. And as he trained, he got stronger, and he felt good. He wasn't a massive guy at all, but he got stronger, and I saw him change, right? So I saw he started going on dates, he started getting on, he went on Tinder and all that kind of stuff. He was a single guy, obviously, and as he kind of got stronger, he trained more. I saw his confidence growing, right? Yeah. So he started to change, and then he shaved it. He got the clippers out, and one day he came in. I was like, "Blimey, look at you! How good you look! Much better, mate. Brilliant." He goes, "Yeah, it's good. I feel better about it." And that was whether he did it. He was motivated because he was more confident because of his, he was training stronger. I don't know, but I'd probably put a lot of money on the fact that it was, because you could see him growing, right? Definitely, you could see him growing as a guy, and that's really good. But what I will say as well, the whole exercise thing that's just one element of the plan, right? For me, the rules that you've seen, it's a start. Okay, it's something that you can take charge of immediately and see almost an immediate effect in here, right? But then there's other elements that I focus on as well that help guys start to sort of question their beliefs and their stories, and again shift focus away from the negativeness that's going on in the head and onto some positive stuff,
Okay, so what are some of the other things? Like you mentioned journaling there. Is it things like journaling, maybe meditation, or? That's
part of it. So my program, I focus. I've got this system that I call a 4-element system, right? And I get guys to focus on 4 sort of separate areas or 4 little tasks every single day. 2 litres of water every day is one of them, and movement is another one. So they're the first 2 elements. Dead simple. Knock back 2 litres of water because we need it, right? Yeah. We're dehydrated, we don't feel good, and makes the problem worse. Movement, some sort of exercise, something that makes you sweat every single day. Okay, it hasn't got to be pumping iron in the gym, but just be active. Okay. The second 2 are something called wins or achievements. I get guys to write down 3 daily wins, right? So at the end of the day, before you go to bed, write down 3 things that were good that you achieved, right? Could be anything, exercise, could be you nailed a presentation, whatever it is, right? Why they were a win and what insights can I take? Because it's just we're focusing on some good things that our subconscious brain then logs, right? And we go to bed thinking about these good things rather than thinking about a meeting or emails or whatever it is, And so, water movement, mind prep, which is my version or what I call meditation. Right. Okay. And I get guys to practice 12 minutes of meditation every single day. Right. It's that has probably had one of the biggest effects on me out of everything that I've done for myself over the last probably 2 or 3 years. Right. I don't sit down for hours going and dressing orange rose or anything like that, right? It's kind of my version of it. I've done quite a lot of work, I've been on courses, my coaches taught me a lot as well. Yeah. And it's dead simple, 12 minutes a day, no music, no apps. You haven't got to be in a dead quiet, dark room. And that has massively helped me, and I know it helps a lot of the guys that I've helped as well.
Okay, yeah, no, I especially like the wins that you said, because I think a lot of guys so hard on themselves, just so critical of everything. I'm ugly, I'm short, I can't do this. My family, got my parents always on at me. And I think I can really...
We fill our heads with just negativeness, and phone. These are the worst things because we spend hours scrolling and getting involved in other people's lives, right? The morning. So I'm doing a seminar in a couple of weeks at a local business, and part of it I talk about people using their phone for an alarm, right? We wake up in the morning, alarm goes off, and turn the alarm off, and let's have a look on Facebook, notifications. And you're like, no one's liked my posts. So and so's having their 5th holiday this year. Look how good their life is and how crap mine is. Look how ripped they are. And then you go into emails. You didn't win that pitch. I need a meeting. And you start the day. Wow, yeah. With the bad stuff. Yeah. Whereas I get, the guys that I help that come through my program will wake up in the morning and we have a morning routine. And we get that done before anything goes on the phones. So you start the day in your own life rather than everyone else's.
Yeah.
And it just sets you up for a better day, you know?
Wow, no, that's powerful. I mean, it's funny because I feel like most people also, they know that stuff isn't good for them, but they just can't, they don't, you know, don't take the action on it. They're just trying to go with the flow, you know, including myself, you know, I can
do it.
That's what I do. You just described it perfectly. My phone over there, bottom of my bed, you know, alarm goes off and I think, oh, I need to wake up. I need to spend a few minutes flicking through some Instagram. Oh, let's have a look on YouTube. Oh, how many subscribers did I gain? Oh, I only got 10. Oh, well, I got 20 yesterday. Oh, you know, wow.
You good posts. I thought I'd wake up and there'd be hundreds of likes, and there's like one extra. And you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But we do it. I did it the other night. I was sat on the sofa in there. I was catching up on this SAS program. And normally I turn my phone off at 8:30, right? I call it a phone blackout. So I turn it off at 8:30, put it in the bedroom, and don't touch it until the morning. Okay, but the other night, for some reason, Thursday night, I didn't do it. Scrolling, half watching this, half watching SAS, and then I went to bed late, right, 10:30 or something like that, which is quite late for me. I'm a bit of an old boy now.
Yeah.
And the next day, I had a bad day. I was so tired. I didn't sleep well.
Yeah.
I had a bad day. I didn't feel so good. Right, all because, and I know it's because I stayed up later than normal. I was on my phone. I was watching telly late at night, and I just didn't sleep that well. You know, so it's and it's no surprise. And
no,
so it does work.
Fantastic.
It does work. Again, we all know it, and we think that it's only scrolling, it's only this, but we forget that our brain is logging these little feelings that it triggers on us and generates.
Yeah,
and does have a big effect. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because
exercise, you know,
kind of part of what you're doing is, and I thought about this before, is, you know, if we kind of think specifically about the hair loss thing, going bald, you know, the stuff that you need to get over it, everyone already has. Everyone already has the stuff that you need, right? The mental capacity and the confidence. Everyone has those things, but I guess most people just don't know how to use it, right? Or they don't know how to get the best from themselves.
That's exactly it. And I think I did a post on this a while ago. Imagine if we, you know, going bald, right? Tell ourselves a story. We'll use the one about, you know, people won't fancy us anymore, right? So we have this story. No one's going to fancy me. I'm never going to get laid ever again in my entire life. Might as well castrate myself, right?
Yeah.
But what if we told ourselves a different story? What if you started to question that belief that you're holding and started to tell yourself, actually, everyone's going to fancy me now. You know? I'm going to be fighting them off with a stick. And what if we told ourselves that story every single day? Then slowly you might start to become that story rather than the story you're telling yourself that you're going to become ugly. You're going to become, no one's going to give you any attention. Everyone's going to stare at you for being this weird looking guy, you know?
Yeah.
And we can train our brain to start thinking about good things rather than the bad things.
Yeah, definitely. And you'll start looking for ways that you can achieve the sort of picture that you've painted for yourself, you know, and you'll find ways to, like I said, to get the things done that you want to do. And it's, I mean, like you said, talking about unicorns and mystical stuff, but it is law of attraction stuff, you know, law of attraction. And I think, like you said about the journaling, you know, and this is something that I've been really trying to do, is writing, you know, rather than writing, oh, I would like to be this, or, you know, I write, oh, I will do this. I will have meetups with Bald Cafe. I will do a US tour. You know, I will, whatever, you know.
Or I have, or I am.
Yeah.
So you're living, you know.
And just put it out there, you know, put it out there, and it, you know, kind of just change the way you're thinking, you know, change that frequency. And don't bask in the negativity.
No, there's a little saying, you might have heard it. Energy flows where focus goes, right? I think Tony Robbins came up with it, you know, the motivational guy, right? Yeah. Energy flows where focus goes. So where your focus is going, your energy goes into that, and that tends to be what you get, right? Yeah. So you kind of get what you focus on. And it's like, if you keep focusing on how you're going to be so ugly and no one's going to fancy you, that's going to happen because it's going to come out in your personality and your behaviour. Right, you kind of get what you focus on, and you mentioned The Secret there. I know that's a lot of people have watched that and believe in it, but it's a lot of, you know, if we keep thinking that we're poor, we're going to be poor. If we keep thinking I'm so fat, your energy's going to go into that, and you're going to become fat. Now, this isn't saying you've got to be if you think I'm ripped, you're going to get ripped. You've got to do the work, right? You've got to take some action.
Yeah.
But you can change how your brain works. Brain can be trained just like your biceps can, right?
Yeah.
You just got to work on it.
Yeah, and starting with that belief, you know, that's the start. You've got to start somewhere, right? And changing that mind frame can be the start.
Definitely. Well, if you think about it, your results are affected by your behaviour, and behaviour is affected by your thoughts. Okay.
Yeah.
So to change your thoughts, you need to change how you behave. To change how you behave, change the way you think. And by doing that regularly, you can create these new beliefs. Now, the thing is, I say this as if like it's really easy, right? And people might watch this going, well, it's not that easy. You can't just think differently. And you can't. It's not, you know, there's loads of things about me I would like to think differently about. You know what I mean? I'm not perfect. It's not nothing, you know, but you have to start somewhere. You have to, if you learn it and you sort of trust, like my coach always says to me, just trust the process. Keep going. Be consistent with it. Be consistent with writing like what you said. I am this. I have achieved this.
Yeah.
Keep going, and your brain will slowly log these little wins and thoughts, and you'll change.
And not only that, you know, even if, say for example, you write these unbelievable things, life's just a lot nicer going day to day thinking good things are going to happen or positively.
100%.
You know? Why waste years and years of your life just thinking, oh, this is over, you know, this is crap, that's crap, I'm going to fail. It's just pointless, you know, it's just a waste of time.
There's people I know, there's one guy I know, and he is just the most, he's a bit older, negative, moaning old bastard that you'll ever meet, right? And you just think, yeah, right, you know, if something's not right, have a complaint or whatever, but you could be so much happier, man, if you just didn't moan about it. And I'm not saying you need to go and love everyone and be someone that's like overly happy, because they're just quite, like, frankly annoying, aren't they? But just don't be so negative all the time, and don't be just so moany and like, oh, everything's bad, everything's crap, this is rubbish, because your life, like you said, could be so much more enjoyable.
Definitely, and I think something we can take from that as well is I'm sure people have heard it, the people you surround yourself with, but even to the extent of online, you know, when guys are going for help online about this hair loss stuff, it boggles my mind. The hair loss forums and stuff like that are such negative places. With, you know, we've spoken before about this whole black pill thing that's come out recently, and people saying,
that one.
Involuntary celibates and stuff like that. They say, oh, I'm ugly, no woman's going to be attracted to me or whatever, so I might as well just, so I'm saying now that I'm just not going to try, you know. It's just unbelievable. And you got hair loss talk and stuff like that, just pages and pages of guys saying give up, stop coping, it's over for you, you know. And just I literally plead with guys who are losing their hair to just stay away from stuff like that, because people are going to try to say to you, oh, they're just being realistic, but they're not. They're just people that have given up, and they don't want to see other guys. They think that other guys shouldn't be happy and bold and successful because they can't be. So they want you to be as miserable as they are. So that's why they're going to put it out there and say to people, don't cope, stop coping, just give up, you can't do it, you know. And I just want to ask quickly, it's even come to my channel here on YouTube now. I've got guys who are into the, you know, they take Propecia or they've had a hair transplant, and they do it in my comments. They write stuff like, stop lying to guys, say they can, you know, to say they can be successful when they're bald. And I know that they're only doing it because that's how they feel, you know, and they don't want to see and they don't want to see other people winning and being happy, because they haven't been able to get to that point. And I never get nasty, you know, and I never say like, oh, you're a failure because you take Propecia. Never say that, because everyone can get to that point. You can be happy without hair, but for some guys, they just, you know, there's just no reasoning with them.
No, those guys that comment, they're the ones who, you know, they just see in the mirror, they're looking at it and they're thinking, hold on a minute, I've paid however much money for a hair transplant, or I've paid all this money on Propecia that I've now got to take every day for the rest of my life. I think that's the case. And I'm still not happy. And that's when they're angry, right? And they get triggered by the fact that other people are putting these videos out saying, you know what, you can actually be a normal guy, believe it or not, and just shave your head, and everything will be fine. You know, people are still going to fancy you. Your confidence can be all right. In fact, you can be better than you were when you had hair.
Yeah.
But because it hasn't happened for them. They don't like to see it, you know, and that's a bit of an issue that I've got, because some people say to me, I don't know if you get this, and they'll say, why don't you just, why are you so anti-hair transplant? Why are you so anti-growing hair back? And I'm kind of not really anti it, because I've got mates that have had hair transplants. I know people that have done it, and it's, they feel all right. But my issue is the fact that there are a lot of guys out there, I'm pretty sure, who think that getting their hair back is going to solve all the issues in their head. Kind of like deodorant on instead of having a shower, right? It might solve one issue that's in your head, but a lot of people, if they're that worried about what they look like with no hair, enough to get a transplant, maybe there's something else going on in there.
Definitely.
And so kind of my angle is, well, you know what? Look, I can't make your hair grow, right? I can't bring your hair back. What I can do is give you the tools and the strategies that you can use and implement to develop your confidence, so that you can live pretty normally without worrying about having no hair. And not only that, you'll get this new skill of confidence and being able to reduce anxieties and manage stress that you can use in other situations, Whereas if you just get some new hair, what if you need glasses in 10 years? Are you going to start, pranging out about that? Or what if something, hopefully it doesn't happen to your physical appearance? You're going to have to deal with that, and it's it kind of develops a bit more of a skill rather than just masking it.
Definitely.
Which I think some people do.
And I think it's that's where this whole thing that we said about you can be losing your hair and dealing with it the right way can make you that better person, like you just said there. And for me, it's this thing that you can have your hair transplant, you can take the Propecia. But no matter how much you want to debate it, they're still not cures. It's never going to take away the fact that you started to lose your hair, or if you stop using it, you are going to lose your hair. Okay, you can argue and say, oh, if you get a hair transplant, they're so good now, you can hold on to it for into your 50s or whatever. Fine, whatever. But it still is not a cure. It doesn't ever take that insecurity away. And that's the problem. That's the main problem with it. And like you said, I've got nothing against people doing that if it makes them feel a little bit better for however many years. But it doesn't take away that root cause of the anxiety, because they haven't dealt with it. They've, as someone else said before, they've sipped on that nice tasting juice. They haven't taken that horrible tasting medicine. They haven't, really sat down and thought about, okay, why do I feel like shit about my hair falling out? Why is this such an issue for me? What, like you said, what other issues do I have? Body issues or self-confidence issues, and now I've got this hair falling out, and the hair falling out is the obvious one to pick at, to focus on.
Exactly.
Because there's so much stuff out there in society, all these cures and people talking about it on TV and adverts and whatever. It's everywhere. So it's easy to focus on that one thing without really sitting down and thinking about the real issues at hand.
Yeah, definitely. See, that's exactly it. It's like, as I said, it's like masking deodorant instead of having a shower. You just, you get your hair back, but what's really going on underneath?
And so, props, right? Mad props. Like a big well done to all the guys who have just, mustered up the courage to go for it, because it takes balls. It does take a lot of balls to do. And, and I know there's guys watching that have done it, and they can think, you know what? I'm glad I did it, and they're right. It does, go on and give you confidence in other areas. Like you said, other things might crop up in the future, but you've already dealt with this big thing of hair loss. And I think that's also, I think that's a good thing for younger guys to focus on. Younger guys, they think, oh my God, this is so unfair that I've had to deal with this. And you know what, it is. But if you can be young and strong enough to deal with it then, I honestly, you can go on to do just about anything. Nothing's going to phase you, Things like that just aren't going to phase you when you get older, because you've already dealt with it at this young age. And you can go on to be more successful than you would have been if you hadn't dealt with this knockdown. I think I saw another quote today. We love the quotes. And it was something like, the guy who's been knocked down and got back up is much stronger than the guy who's never been knocked down, and it's true, and we can apply that to this whole going bold thing,
100%. I definitely firmly believe, mate, that me going bald when I was younger has made me a more confident guy.
Agreed.
As I get older. You know, I'm 37 now, but back in the day, I was a really shy and unconfident youngster. When I was growing up, I didn't have any confidence whatsoever. Nothing to do with my hair. That was back in when I was really young, you know, and anxious and everything else. And as I said, I wouldn't have been able to sit here in front of, you know, even you doing this now, right? I wouldn't have been able to do seminars that I do, or webinars, or coach people and get up and talk and everything else. And I definitely attribute a lot of that to the fact, and it's going to sound weird to people, if anyone's watching this with hair, they're going to be like, what are you talking about? But I definitely think, you know, that having to deal with this and having to deal with all the rippings from your mates and what have you, it kind of makes you grow, right? And your confidence grows, you become a bit of a thicker skin, and now
for sure,
a lot more confident.
100%. 100%. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here. So I know you've got your 10 steps, and of course, anyone listening, anyone watching, I'll make sure all Phil's info is down in the description. So if you want to get in touch with Phil for some one-on-one, you know, some of that coaching yourself, or you've got any questions, you know, don't be shy, reach out to him, and I'm sure you're fine with that. I'll put all that stuff down in the description box. But, you know, what would to anyone watching now, a guy young, hair's falling out, you know, he's not sure about how to deal with it. You know, what would your most solid, your best piece of advice be to anyone watching like that?
Yeah, cool. That was a question, isn't it? My number one piece of advice. I think, and it's bit cliche, man. I would first of all, if you've got any qualms about shaving your head, get rid of it, because if this is causing you problems, then deal with it, right? Like me with the hat story and everything else, I did that for 3 and a bit years. And if I'd have just shaved my head, man, and I'd given in, I wouldn't have to worry about the rain. I wouldn't have to worry about going to the swimming pool and having these strands on my head. You know what I mean? And it would have solved so many things. So I would definitely say give in and shave it. I would also say, I know this is another bit of advice, right? But be careful listening to the stories that you tell yourself in your head. Because I can almost guarantee they're all based on assumptions. You're assuming you're going to look a certain way. You're assuming your life's going to become a certain way after you shave it, right? They're based on assumptions, and I almost can guarantee none of it will come true, you know? So question your stories, question your beliefs, question the things that you're telling yourself in your head, because they won't be true.
For sure, man.
That's what I'd say.
Fantastic advice, fantastic. Well, Phil, listen, I think for this podcast, for this episode, we nailed it. I really liked that, you know, your 10 steps, and also, you know, the 4 key things that you mentioned there. I feel like there's going to be guys listening, watching now that can instantly, you know, like you said, these are things they can instantly implement in their lives, get that ball rolling.
So those 10 steps, just to point it out, that is to get anyone on the road to transforming what they look like, which we mentioned can transform here, right? That course, actually, if there's a button that will sign up, that will get people to sign up to a free 10-day course, right? Where I email them, I go into those points on that list in a lot more detail, right? After that, I've also got an email list as well. So I email every single day about, you know, stories and weird shit that happens to me, all related back to baldness, confidence, transforming what you look like and how you feel, right?
Fantastic.
That's where so that's where I explained about that poo story the other day.
Awesome. Yeah, I did see that. But, you know, maybe we'll leave that. Phil's got an awesome story. He set himself a goal of swimming 2 miles. Was that it? 2 miles?
It was, 2 miles, yeah.
But you know what? I'm going to leave people to head over to your Facebook page, and they can listen to that poo story over there and get in touch with you over there, all right? We'll save that we'll save that for them. Well, listen, Phil, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your own story, and giving your own advice, man. It's been fantastic. Well, listen, stay in touch, and I'll be back in the UK soon, and I'd love to do this again. We'll get in touch. It'll be fantastic.
100%.
Awesome. Well, listen, thank you. To everyone listening, everyone watching, I want to thank you so much for watching. As always, hope you enjoyed this episode. Really valuable stuff. I want to thank Phil once more, and we will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Ciao.